Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am playing with this die from Prudis Monroe. It is 2 pieces. So if you cut this piece out, it doesn't cut a full die. It kind of just cuts it out of your paper. If you use this and cut it out, you have the individual heart. So that is going to be something fun. I also pulled out my Velveteen Glazes and also a recent glitter glaze of the month, which is Poppy. So let's see what I can do. Now, I knew I wanted to play with Velveteen Glazes, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with them. Like, was I going to just use them as the background? Was I going to cut out the dies with them? What was I going to do? So I decided to make a background, and I'm putting a thin layer down, and what this is going to do is allow it to dry a little bit quicker than if I put a thicker layer down. Now, because the layer is a little bit thinner, the texture is not as pronounced either. The thicker you put the Velveteen Glaze on, the more of that stiff flocked feel you will have. And I call it a stiff flocked feel, and unless you've played with Velveteen Glaze and had them dry, then you don't know what I'm talking about until you actually do it. So I am kind of going in rainbow order. I don't truly have a red. I'm basically using 2 pinks. I do have a red, but I was planning on bringing in pink as my background color, so I didn't want it to like really compete with what I had going on here. So I am using a plastic palette knife, and I'm just using that because it's easy. It's, to lay these colors on. So I am making these into stripes with a little bit of overlap in the color. So the colors are kind of merging together ever so slightly. They're not truly blending, but they are merging. I would say they are merging, not truly blending. Now I've reached the end and I still have white space on my layout. So I just go back to the pink colors and start to repeat. And I feel like that's perfectly fine. We're starting with the pink colors. We are ending with the pink colors. I'm just making sure to wipe off my palette knife on a paper towel because I really don't want to cross-contaminate my colors all that much. I don't have that desire to do that. Now, if I was really thinking about this, I would have grabbed my art journal and wiped off the excess in there, but for some reason, I just grabbed the paper towel to make that happen. Now, I do confess, I use my heat tool on this to move it along a little bit. You could just let this dry. It'll take a little bit of time. With my heat tool, it took no time at all. And as you can see, while it was wet, it was shiny, but the Velveteen Glazes do dry to a nice matte finish. So I have this 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and I'm cutting down each of the papers into 4 by 4 squares. And what this is going to do is allow me to cut out the heart. And it's not always perfect. So when I die cut the heart, they're not perfect, and some of the heart gets cut off, but that's okay. Because of what I'm doing with the layout, it is completely okay. Now, I am not going to make you watch me die cut all of these out for 2 reasons. One, my die cut machine is across the room. It's plugged in. So I really didn't want to, move my camera setup. So what I did was die cut the kind of circly bits first, and then I die cut the heart shape around it that turns it into a true heart. So I am just adding a tiny little bit of adhesive on here, and I'm just trying to kind of space these hearts out across the layout and I end up doing the pinky ones around kind of the outside, and the blues and greens and yellow ones kind of are kind of in the middle. So it's almost like it's striped. And I'm trying to spread them out a little bit. I do have 2 more hearts, but I felt like I was going to start really crowding it, and I did not want to crowd them on the page. I wanted them to kind of stand out and really have you take notice of them. I am doing that thing where I take my top portion of my layout, and then I kind of make it go askew on the bottom portion. And it just gives a little bit of color underneath of your layout. It's kind of just like matting it, but in a funky way. Now this paper is from Photoplay. It's a birthday paper, and I did get it from Brutus Monroe. In case you didn't know already, Brutus Monroe is carrying scrapbooking products, which is amazing. So get yourself over there and check that out. Lots and lots of fun stuff. So now I took my layout over to my trimmer and I cut off the edges so that I have this bit of pink polka dotted bits poking out. This is a photo of my husband. So my husband and I send each other selfies on a pretty regular basis. There was a time in our lives where we lived in one state and he worked in another, and I saw him only on the weekends, so we communicated a lot with selfies, and it's just something that we have stuck to. It's been years and years since we had that situation, but even now we do it. So I decide to pop my photo up on some fun foam. This is just a fun foam you can pick up anywhere, and I did that because I wanted a little bit of lift from the photo. Now the paper I'm using is from the name is escaping me, but it's like the holiday candy stripe paper pack from Brutus Monroe. And I felt like the green was a good enough differentiation from all the pink, and it matched well enough with the green in the hearts. Now, I was trying to think of something I could do to really add something fun to the layout, and I grabbed the fabulous fibers here. Now, I have done layouts with these fibers that have been gorgeous, but for some reason, this layout, I was not feeling it. And I've done this in the past, and I loved it. But I think what it is it reminds me too much of hair on the white background. So, you know, I think it's the white background that really just, I was kind of like, whoa, what are we doing here? But I left it in just because I want you to be able to see the entire process. And if something doesn't work, you can change it. And for me, it really wasn't working. It was looking like hair. And I know it's because it was on the white background. So I go ahead and pull it up. And then throughout the rest of the process video, you're going to see me picking the fibers off of the page. Just because it just really, really didn't feel right. It felt like hair. And we don't need that. We definitely don't need that on this layout. This is about love, not hair. So there is that. I think had my background been black instead of white, I would have liked it a lot better. It would have been a completely different feel to the layout as well. Just mixing your rainbow colors, whether it's on white or black, it just gives you a different feel. This is more of a lighter and airy feel. And so now I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. So what in the heck am I going to do now? I'm going to finish picking these little fibers off. That's what I'm going to do. And then while I'm doing that, I'm just trying to think of what else I can do. I end up not using my glitter glaze, which is a sad thing. Because you guys know me, and you know I love my Shining Shimmering Splendid of the glitter glaze. You know that that's a fact. But we didn't do that. I decided to grab a black pen and kind of give it a little outline right here. I kind of felt like all of the pastelness was just too much and I needed to break it up. So now I have these doodly lines along the white of my paper, and I'm like, ooh, you know what would be cool is if I doodly lined around these hearts, because what that's going to do is give it a sense of texture that wasn't there before. So it's not true texture because I'm not adding any lift to the page. I'm not adding anything to touch. There's nothing tactile, but it's an implied texture. So it kind of looks like the hearts are a little lifted off the page because of this black doodly line around the outside of it. Now, I'm not being super careful with it. It's kind of a sketchy, messy, doodly line. Some of my little Humpty Humps right here as I'm going around the heart don't really even match up the Humpty Hump on the heart, but that's okay because it gives that messy, doodly look, and I am a fan of that messy, doodly look. And what I did around the outside was I did not put the lines through the hearts. So it kind of looks like the line goes from the outside of the page to around the heart, back to the outside of the page, and then back around to the heart. And I really like how that turned out as well. And then I just went ahead and added my second doodly line to the little heart piece down here at the bottom right-hand side, because when I first did it, we only did one line. So now I really feel like those hearts are popping up off the page instead of being flat, kind of just like there on top of the white background. Now I grab the Sentimental stamp set. This is extra sentimental. And it's got great sayings in it. So I pick out the ones that, are appropriate for a love page. So we've got Hello Darlin', Hey Gorgeous, I Seriously Love You, and You're My Favorite. And it's just a happy accident that they all fit in the white space of the layout. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Misty, and this is the 12 by 12 mystery. It's not a mystery, it is a Misty. So I grab my 12 by 12 one, and what this does is allows me to stick this big old layout into the entire Misty, so I can, stamp all of these at once. So then now that I've got them figured out where I want them placed, I go ahead and grab my Detail ink in Raven. I do have to say this is my absolute favorite black ink in the world. It's just great. It's just a great, deep, dark black ink, and it stamps so beautifully. So the great thing about a Misty is that you can stamp multiple times if your stamping is not as dark as you want, or you mess it up a little bit and you don't press down on all the areas. You could do that with an acrylic block as well. It's just a little bit more difficult to line it up. A stamp positioner makes it super easy. Now I am just using an acrylic block to place these triple hearts around the page, and I just did that to give it a little bit more oomph with the black bits on the page. And now that I have all of this oomph with my stamping and my doodly bits and all that, I'm like, you know what? This page is missing something. It really is. And it's missing a little bit of a black border between my white cardstock and my pink polka dotted pattern paper. So I know that I've got to fix that, and in the meantime, I go into my stash and pull out some letter stickers, and I find this great black and white one, and I'm going to go ahead and place that down on my layout directly over top of the hearts, and I will quickly discover that I do not have any more Ys, even though when I pulled out this layout or pulled out this package of letter stickers and looked at it, I thought I saw a Y in there. I know it didn't mysteriously disappear, so I take the letter X and I cut off one of the arms and quickly turn that into a Y. And then I decide instead of just love you, it should say I love you. That's going to happen after I pull this paper up. Now, normally, when I use my adhesive, if I don't press down on it too hard, I can pop it back up. And then once I'm finished with the layout, you know, I'm pressing everything down. However, this layout did end up in a Misty, and I pressed down all over it, so it really put that adhesive to stick really well. And so it was a little bit of a struggle getting it up. As you can see, I tore apart the under bits of the paper really, really well. That doesn't really matter though, because it's going to be hidden. Otherwise, I just would have trashed this entire paper. So I do use a paper trimmer to cut off the black edges because I really just want that little bit of border between the white and the polka dotted paper. The liney, doodly border that I placed around there wasn't enough of a bold hit of black on the layout. But this little extra bit is definitely enough. So this is where I add in the I for I love you, just because I felt like I needed that little extra bit. And that is going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, I will have some links down below if you're interested in any of the projects or products to make projects. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you again real soon for another video.